It was nearly a year ago when a 9-year-old Henrico County boy was killed by a brain-eating amoeba he contracted in a Virginia waterway, most likely the James River. At the time, the Centers for Disease Control announced it was developing a test for detecting the amoebas and would pull samples from Virginia waterways. But as our investigative reporter Rachel DePompa found out, that testing has yet to begin.
He was his stepfather's best friend, his mother's heart.
I miss him a lot. He made me a better person.
The cycle of life came to a painful and sudden stop at just 9 years old for Christian Strickland.
And that's the hardest part, is to imagine that I could be alive for 50 more years and never see his face.
He died 1 week after attending a fishing camp that took him on the James River. Somehow, this microscopic and naturally occurring amoeba called Naegleria Fowleri was forced up his nose and burrowed in his brain. He reported a headache on a Sunday, could barely get out of bed by Monday.
So I pulled him out of bed and he just melted onto the floor.
At the hospital, he was diagnosed with meningoencephalitis. His brain was swelling.
Hurry up.
This is video Amber has kept guarded until now. It's from Christian's time in the hospital. She wants you to see what this amoeba did to her son.
Christian, look at me. Look at me. You don't know where I am or who I am? I see you.
And this is deadly, it's swift, and not only that, the family that is standing there with every last ounce of hope they have, watch their child suffer until he dies.
Within 3 days of arriving at the hospital, Christian was gone.
He said, "I love you." And I said, "I love you too." And at the time, I didn't appreciate that. I was hurting so badly that I didn't appreciate, that I got those last words from him. But I cherish him now.
Lurking in warm bodies of fresh water like the James River or Lake Anna, Naegleria Fowleri is almost always fatal. There's no cure. It's hard to diagnose, and it's extremely rare.
We think is that this is really related to water temperature, and so you see it in the southern tier states at the bottom of the United States.
Last year, there were 4 deaths. Along with Christian, a 16-year-old died a week after swimming in a Florida river, and 2 adults in Louisiana died after using neti pots filled with Louisiana tap water. Naegleria Fowleri has taken more than 120 lives since it was first discovered in the 1960s, and yet little is known about the free-living amoebas. It thrives in warm, stagnant waters and soil, usually popping up in the summer months.
It is a great mystery. We don't really understand why the very few people who are exposed and develop this illness, why that happens. We're trying to understand it better.
Last August, the Centers for Disease Control announced it was attempting to develop a test for quickly detecting the amoebas. The agency said it would ask Virginia for samples from several waterways, but so far that sampling has not been done. A year later, the CDC is still perfecting the test.
It's really trying to study the environment to see if we can improve our understanding of this organism, to say whether we can even make any better public health, recommendations.
He was so beautiful.
Amber Strickland wants waters tested nationwide and signs put up if Naegleria is present so people can make their own decisions.
It doesn't take much to protect your children. It really doesn't. A nose plug.
She carries Christian's story on her back. Like most parents, before last summer, she'd never heard of Naegleria.
You see me? Yeah. You sure? Yeah.
Rachel DePompa, 12 on Your Side investigates.
Now, to be clear, swallowing this amoeba doesn't hurt you. It's only when it's forced up the nasal passage. And again, infections are rare, but almost always fatal. Tomorrow at 5, Rachel sits down with one of the world's leading experts on this amoeba, a VCU professor who has tested our waters locally. Find out what she's uncovered tomorrow night at 5.